What's up, my fellow dorks? It's me, the Turtle Dork, back again with another review. So, Love in the Time of War. This is what Robert Zemeckis is exploring in the new film Allied, starring Brad Pitt and Marion Cotillard. So Pitt plays an intelligence officer who meets up with Marion Cotillard's, she's a French resistance fighter, in Casablanca, and they are tasked with a mission to go ahead and assassinate a German ambassador. And what I really like about the first act of this film is that it really feels like a throwback to some of those old classic movies like Casablanca. The decor, the set design, the wardrobe, it's pretty fun to kind of watch these two actors play in this world, and see that romance kind of blossom throughout the course of kind of like this first act. And I think Robert Zemeckis does a pretty effective job of really showing these two characters falling in love with each other. There's actually a pretty tender and romantic love scene that they have in the middle of a sandstorm when they're kind of trapped in a car. And the way that Zemeckis shoots that, it's beautifully done, and I thought it was very effective in kind of progressing the romance and the feelings that these two characters have for each other. I thought it was well done. So as we kind of took our time with the building of the romance in the first act, once Max Vuitton, the character played by Brad Pitt, asks Marianne Beausejour to marry him, the movie does kind of pick up. And that was probably maybe one of my first issues that I kind of noticed was the pacing. The first act of this film really takes its time developing the romance and takes its time letting these two characters fall in love. And then once that happens, it moves at a kind of a rapid pace. Before you know it, I think probably within 5 minutes, they're married. She's having a baby in the middle of a firefight, and they're in Hampstead raising their family. So it moves pretty quickly. But as we've learned in the trailers for this film, that this movie really deals with the intrigue and the paranoia of learning of the possibility that your wife could possibly be a German spy. And I like the way that paranoia is kind of played through Brad Pitt's character. And Zemeckis does a very effective job of displaying that paranoia on screen. I love the way that he uses silence. The quietness between the two characters once Brad Pitt finds this information out is deafening when you're in the house alone with these two characters. Every little sound, even the tick of a clock, the creak of a footstep, everything is more accentuated, and I like how he uses those sound effects and that sound design to really play up that paranoia. But I have to say that the acting in this movie is superb. I thought Brad Pitt and Marion Cotillard were great in these roles, and this story kind of hinges on the performance of these two characters, because if you don't buy into that romance, and if you don't buy into the mistrust that goes on after he finds out this information, then this whole movie just kind of falls apart. And what I kind of like also is Marion Cotillard's performance, because she plays it really close to the vest, because you don't know if she is a German spy or not, and it keeps you kind of guessing throughout the film. So you're kind of on this ride with Brad Pitt's character. You're really seeing this through his point of view, and as this film goes along, you're kind of like discovering things as he's discovering it. And that's the fun of kind of watching this movie, is kind of going along on that journey with him as he tries to find out this information, which is actually kind of fun. Now, I'm not going to give anything away as far as the ending, but there are some unexpected twists that do happen in the third act of this film that I wasn't I actually wasn't expecting. A lot of times, especially with films like this, as an audience member, you try to be at least 1 or 2 steps ahead, so you can kind of call what's going to happen. I wasn't really able to do that with this film, and I do appreciate that the movie was able to kind of keep me on my toes, and not really be that predictable. So it does have some kind of unexpected turns towards the end, and I think it ultimately does work for the film. So I don't know, like for me, I would say, as far as a score, I would probably give this movie about a 7. I thought it was a good movie actually. It's not a movie that I would revisit. It's not a movie that has stayed with me after I saw it. I enjoyed my time watching the film. I was definitely engaged, and I was thrilled, and it keeps you on the edge of your seat. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I don't want to say it's a forgettable film, but it's just kind of like one of those middle of the road films. It's not something that's gonna wow you. It may do it for you, but for me, it was just it was a good time in the theater, nothing more, nothing less. So I would give it a 7 out of 10. So those are my initial thoughts and review of the new Robert Zemeckis film Allies, starring Mr. Brad Pitt and Marion Cotillard. So tell me what you think. Did you like it? Did you love it? Did you not like it? Did you hate it? Go ahead and rate, subscribe, comment, and let me know what you think. Go ahead and follow my other dorks at MouthDork, at Sidewalk Siren, and at TheDiscoDork. So for me, I am the Turtle Dork, and with that, I'm out.